Who Killed WCW? That episode was wow. We got to see Vince Russo all over again. I don't even know what to say about that episode, but I had to relive the David Arquette thing again, which was honestly the David Arquette and the Bash at the Beach was what killed WCW for me. And watching Vince Russo fight Booker T, I was just like, I was done. That's where I was out, to be honest with you. What did you guys think of this episode, Phil?
So I will say I didn't see this episode, but I've seen the reaction to it.
Mm.
And the very first one was a row of pictures of people. And three that come to mind was like Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo, and Kevin Nash. And there was somebody else who was up there. And it was like all these old white guys saying it wasn't me and not realizing who it was the whole time.
Wow.
And I was like, oh,
wow. That's a little rough. Jason. Go ahead, Phil. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Jason, who killed WCW?
Well, I kind of tend to agree with you on this one. The David Arquette, the Bash at the Beach, that was definitely when they jumped the Shark Tank. It was brutal. That to me was truly the end.
And, I was surprised when I heard that both Vince and Eric approved that thing with David winning the championship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was just the worst thing ever. I could not believe it. And I felt bad for David Arquette again after I heard that, because what's he going to do? Say no? He probably should have, but what's he going to do? He's in the room and they're like, hey, you're going to do this. Okay. And they were in the middle of promoting that movie too. But, I get where Vince Russo was coming from. We could talk about this forever, where it was, look, I want to get people's attention and doing things, but at the same time, it's like, you got to do the right things,
So you mean WCW, the same company that had Black Scorpion at a time that they were putting out the movie Darkman, and WCW, who had RoboCop wrestle?
Yeah.
Put over the movie star with a movie featuring a whole bunch of WCW wrestlers? I don't know.
Shocking.
Looking back and watching it, it was like, at the same time, I felt like there was a point to the ugh. Like, it because of that reaction. It was an emotional reaction. And now how do you recover from it? Now, I don't think they really did recover from it. And because of a lot of other bad decisions before it got to that point, I think it made a lot of people just go, ugh. They just couldn't circle. And then, other things happened along that way.
I think it
was a lot of missed decisions. I don't think it's like one person. I don't think Vince Russo did bad or Eric Bischoff should have done that. I think it's a lot of a combination when you have a community that doesn't hold itself accountable, that doesn't really that doesn't like to point fingers, and it's a lot of a friends thing and a politics thing. Like, let's fix it, but you have to fix it together. And I think they failed at that. Hey, AEW, we're all watching you.
Well, that is a very good point to wrap things up.